The #EndSARS protests in Nigeria were a significant youth-led movement against police brutality, specifically targeting the Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS, a notorious police unit accused of extrajudicial killings, extortion, torture, and human rights abuses. Key events on October 28, 2020. Lekki toll gate shooting. On the evening of October 28, 2020, Nigerian security forces, later confirmed to include soldiers, opened fire on peaceful protesters at the Lekki toll gate in Lagos, who were singing the national anthem and waving Nigerian flags. This occurred after a curfew was imposed by the Lagos state government. Denial and controversy. The Nigerian government initially denied the shootings, but evidence from CNN, Amnesty International, and eyewitnesses confirmed that live rounds were used, leading to multiple deaths and injuries. Global outrage. The Lekki shooting triggered international condemnation, with celebrities and world leaders calling for justice. SARS was officially disbanded on October 11, 2020, but protests continued due to distrust of the government. The Nigerian government set up judicial panels to investigate police brutality, but many victims are still awaiting justice. The movement highlighted broader issues of governance, youth marginalization, and demands for systemic reform. #EndSARS became a symbol of resistance against oppression in Nigeria. It inspired similar movements across Africa and the diaspora. The Nigerian government's response, including internet shutdowns and crackdowns, raised concerns about shrinking civic space. October 28, 2020, night of blood and broken promises. The air was thick with smoke and the scent of burning tires. The chants of "End SARS, end police brutality" had echoed through Lagos for nearly 2 weeks, but tonight felt different. The government had declared a curfew, but the protesters at Lekki toll gate refused to leave. They sat on the asphalt, waving Nigerian flags, singing the national anthem, "Arise, O compatriots," as if their voices alone could shield them from what was coming. Then, the lights went out. At first, it was just the streetlights, then the toll gate's cameras. The hum of generators faded, plunging the protest site into darkness. Only the glow of phone screens and the occasional flicker of a flashlight remained. "They're coming," someone screamed. The sound of gunfire tore through the night. People dropped to the ground, scrambling for cover. Some kept singing, defiant even as the bullets flew. Others ran, slipping on blood-slicked pavement. The soldiers' Nigerian army, as later confirmed, advanced in formation, shooting at unarmed protesters. A young man in a white shirt clutched his stomach, his scream lost in the chaos. A girl, no older than 19, pressed her hands against a friend's gunshot wound, her fingers sticky with blood. The ambulances that came later were turned away by soldiers. By morning, the toll gate was littered with abandoned shoes, shattered phones, and dark stains on the concrete. The government denied the killings, calling it fake news. But the world had already seen the videos. The live streams cut short the final pleas for help. They thought their voices would bring change. Instead, they were met with bullets. The #EndSARS movement didn't die that night. It became a reckoning, a moment Nigeria would never forget. But for those who stood at Lekki on October 28, the question remained: how many more must bleed before justice is real? The gunfire lasted for what felt like hours, though in reality, it was only minutes. But time bends in moments of terror. When the shooting finally stopped, an eerie silence settled over Lekki toll gate, broken only by the muffled sobs of the wounded and the frantic whispers of those still hiding. "Is it over?" A voice quivered in the dark. No one answered. A nation in shock. By dawn, the truth began to seep through the cracks of the government's denials. Families scoured hospitals, searching for sons, daughters, friends some would never return. The government claimed only 2 deaths, but witnesses spoke of bodies being taken away in vans. To this day, many remain unaccounted for. The cover-up. Bulldozers arrived at the toll gate by morning, hosing down the bloodstains. Officials called protesters hoodlums, dismissing the massacre as exaggerated. But the internet never forgets. Videos, tweets, and live streams became digital tombstones. The world watched. From Beyonce to the UN, outrage poured in. #EndSARS trended globally. But in Nigeria, the government responded with more crackdowns, arrests, and internet blackouts. The unanswered questions. 1. Who gave the order? The military denied involvement at first, then later claimed they only fired blank bullets. Yet bullet casings and victim autopsies told a different story. Where are the bodies? Families of the missing still demand answers. Some say bodies were dumped in secret. MASS graves, a rumor the government fiercely denies. 3. Will there ever be justice? The Lagos State Judicial Panel confirmed security forces killed protesters, but years later, no one has been held accountable. A generation's broken trust. That night didn't just end protests, it shattered the last illusions many Nigerian youth had about their government. Before Lekki, we still believed they cared, said one survivor. Now we know they'd rather kill us than listen. Some activists fled the country, others went silent, fearing arrest or worse, but a hardened few still whisper, this fight isn't over. The legacy of October 28th. Today, the Lekki toll gate stands reopened, cars passing over the same ground where blood was spilled. The government wants the world to move on, but every October, flowers appear at the toll gate. Anonymous hands leave notes. We remember, you didn't die in vain, we will speak for you. And in the quiet of the night, if you listen closely, some swear they still hear echoes of that final, defiant anthem, Arise, O compatriots, a ghostly reminder of the day Nigeria's youth learned the price of daring to demand change. 3 years have passed since the night the Nigerian government turned guns on its own children. The bullet holes at Lekki toll gate have been plastered over, the blood scrubbed away. But if you look closely, really closely, you can still see the cracks. In a cramped Lagos apartment, Amina still wakes up screaming. She was 22 when a soldier's bullet grazed her thigh at Lekki. The physical wound healed, but the nightmares remain. Sometimes I still smell the gunpowder, she whispers, rubbing her scar absent-mindedly. Across town, Chike sits in a dimly lit cybercave, typing furiously. Once a frontline protester, he now runs an anonymous Twitter account documenting police brutality. They want us to forget, he says, but I won't let them. His last 3 accounts were suspended. He suspects government interference. And in a quiet morgue in Ikeja, Mrs. Okonjo still comes every Sunday, hoping against hope that one of the unidentified bodies might be her son, David, who vanished that night. The morgue attendants know her by name now. They bring her tea. They say nothing when she weeps. The government's hollow victory. The state won the battle but lost the war for trust. The Nigerian army still insists they never fired live rounds, despite overwhelming evidence. The Lagos state government payout for 110 million in compensations, but refused to admit guilt. SARS was disbanded, only to be replaced by SWAT accused of the same atrocities under a new name. Yet something fundamental shifted in Nigeria's psyche. As activist Rhino Oduola puts it, they showed us the teeth of the beast. Now we can never unsee it. Today's rebellion looks different. Bitcoin donations fund anonymous watchdog groups. Encrypted apps spread protest blueprints. Artists like Falls and Burna Boy embed coded messages in their lyrics. A new generation has learned the rules of dissent in a digital dictatorship. They organize in shadows, their rage simmering beneath memes and Afrobeats. At a candlelight vigil last October, an old woman held a photo of her grandson killed at Lekki at 19. When asked what she wanted, she didn't say justice. She simply asked, when will my country love its children more than it fears their voices? The wind carried her words away. No one had an answer. This story remains unfinished because Nigeria's reckoning with October 28 is still being written in courtrooms, in underground chats, and in the hearts of those who remember.